Elena Kowalski could smell the sabotage before she saw it. 40 years of handling explosives had taught her to recognize when something was wrong, not just with the bomb, but with the entire situation. The device in the federal building's basement was sophisticated, yes, but the electromagnetic interference that had disabled all the modern equipment wasn't a side effect. It was deliberate. Someone had wanted the high-tech gear to fail. Someone had wanted the bomb squad helpless. As her teammates stood around their dead screens and silent radios, Elena realized she wasn't just facing an explosive device. She was facing a trap designed specifically to neutralize everyone except the one person they thought they could dismiss, the old woman with the antique tools. From which city in the world are you watching this video today? If this story resonates with you, consider subscribing for more tales of unsung heroes and hidden expertise. The Jonathan P. Walsh Federal Building in the heart of Washington, D.C. was an imposing structure that welcomed thousands of government employees each morning. In the basement of the 9-story building lay an area normally accessible only to security personnel. But this morning, that area hosted a deadly puzzle awaiting the city's most experienced bomb disposal team. Elena Kowalski, the oldest member of the Metro Bomb Squad, had prepared immediately upon receiving the team leader's call. As she slung her old leather bag over her shoulder, she looked at herself in the mirror. At 64, with grey hair pulled back in a bun, her eyes held the composure that 40 years of experience had given her. She never hurried. Experience had taught her that haste led to mistakes. Team leader Captain Rodriguez met Elena at the building entrance. His face was tense, beads of sweat on his forehead as he spoke. "Elena, this is unlike anything we've encountered. The device is in the basement. Security cameras couldn't identify it precisely, but it appears to be a hybrid design." In the elevator descending, Elena listened carefully. Rodriguez continued, "Electromagnetic interference levels are extremely high. Our equipment can't get clean readings. Our digital scanners are constantly showing errors." Elena nodded silently. She had encountered such situations before, but never this severe. When the elevator stopped at the basement level, Elena remembered the first rule her grandfather had taught her. "Every bomb has a heartbeat, little one. Learn to listen." The fluorescent lights in the basement cast a cold glare on the concrete floor. Team members stood around their equipment in bewilderment. The digital screens that were normally spread throughout the area were black. Radios crackled with static. Thermal cameras showed blank images. Specialist Sergeant Michael Torres stood by the newest equipment set in frustration. "This is impossible," he muttered. "Even our quantum scanner isn't working. It's like all electronics just died at once." The device sat on a metal table in the center of the room. At first glance, it looked modern. LED display, digital counter, complex web of cables. But as Elena approached, she sensed something was wrong. Not just the appearance, but the smell too. The age of metal, the unnatural mixture of electronics, and, yes, the scent of deliberate manipulation. "Step back," Elena said quietly. Team members watched her with curiosity. Elena opened her leather bag and removed the simple tools inherited from her grandfather. Wire strippers, an old multimeter, and the magnifying glass her great-grandfather had used during World War II. Specialist Torres approached with a mocking smile. "Elena, Mom, with all due respect, this isn't a hobby project. We need real equipment." Elena continued examining the device, responding with a smile. "Sometimes the oldest tools know how to listen." Elena began examining the device using the magnifying glass. Beneath the modern appearance, a much older design was hidden. Though the cables looked new, the connection points were from the 1980s. While the LED screen blazed, the electronics underneath contained analog components. "This is a hybrid," Elena whispered. "Someone deliberately mixed old and new technologies." Captain Rodriguez approached. "What do you mean?" Elena explained while connecting her multimeter. The reason your modern equipment isn't working isn't random. This device was specifically designed to create electromagnetic interference, but only at certain frequencies. Team members looked at each other. Specialist Torres asked suspiciously, "So someone wanted our equipment to fail?" "Exactly," Elena replied, holding her magnifying glass at a different angle. "And this person knows our modern bomb disposal protocols very well, which frequencies we operate on, which scanning methods we use, which safety measures we take." A tense silence filled the room. Rodriguez asked anxiously, "An inside job?" Elena stopped and looked around. Sabotage in a federal building. This wasn't just a random terrorist attack. Someone was conducting a carefully planned operation. And the purpose of this operation wasn't just to blow up the building, but to neutralize the bomb squad in a specific way. As Elena continued working, the device's complexity became increasingly clear. This wasn't just a bomb, it was also a test, an experiment testing our dependence on modern technology, questioning whether old methods were still valid. "Look," Elena said, gathering team members around her. "This device has two different circuit systems. One is modern, digital. This is to deceive our equipment. The other is analog, hidden. This is the real detonation mechanism." Specialist Torres marveled. Two separate systems? But why? "Because," Elena smiled, "whoever built this knew we would rely only on modern solutions. They never expected us to notice the analog system." Meanwhile, a suspicion formed in Elena's mind. Such detailed knowledge, such precise planning. This had to be an inside job. Someone knew how their teams operated, which equipment they used, which protocols they followed. Elena began working carefully on the analog circuit. Her grandfather's wire strippers felt natural in her hands. These tools didn't need internet updates, weren't sensitive to electromagnetic interference, and most importantly, in experienced hands, they never lied. The LED display counter continued counting down from 1,500 hours. 15 minutes. Elena increased her pace but didn't lose focus. As she progressed through the analog circuit, she understood why the modern system had been made so complex. "Rodriguez," Elena said, continuing to work. "Who knows this building's security protocols?" Rodriguez thought. "The security director, senior personnel, and of course our team. And our bomb disposal protocols. The same people, plus a few from the training department." Elena paused for a moment. "Who organized this operation? Who called us here?" Rodriguez's expression changed. "Security Director Davidson, but he's our guy." Elena remembered her grandfather's voice. "The most dangerous enemy is the one you trust, little one." Now everything was becoming clear. Davidson wasn't just the security director, he was also the person who organized the bomb squad's training, selected their equipment, and determined their protocols. "Everyone listen," Elena spoke in a stern voice. "This is a trap. Davidson called us here because this device was specifically designed to neutralize our modern equipment." Team members were shocked. Torres asked in disbelief, "Davidson?" "But why?" Elena explained while making final adjustments to the analog circuit. "I don't know why, but I know how. This device has two purposes. First, to blow up the building. Second, to prove how inadequate modern bomb disposal teams are." Rodriguez took his radio but heard nothing but static. "We should inform the higher-ups." "No," Elena replied firmly. "First we'll neutralize the bomb, then reveal the truth. Because right now Davidson knows where we are, what we're doing, and he can probably detonate this device remotely too." The counter showed 8:30. Elena examined the final cables. The analog system was simple but effective. It could be solved with old methods, patience, and careful hands, just as her grandfather had taught her. Elena cut the last cable and the device went silent. The LED screen turned off, electromagnetic interference stopped, and team members' equipment came back to life. But Elena knew this was just the beginning. Rodriguez, Elena said while photographing the device. Don't tell Davidson anything tonight. Tomorrow morning we'll report this device to internal security. But why? Elena smiled while packing her leather bag. Because Davidson is planning his next move, and this time we'll be ready. The FBI's internal investigation revealed that Davidson had been leaking federal security protocols to outside sources for 3 years. He was trying to prove how vulnerable bomb disposal teams had become due to their excessive reliance on modern equipment. Elena Kowalski hadn't just neutralized a bomb that day, she had also demonstrated the dangers of blind faith in technology. Sometimes the oldest tools are more powerful than the newest tricks, because experience doesn't require updates. Wisdom never goes out of style. And the best solution to sabotage is patient listening.